If you need help creating your own website, Good Insight has you covered. Go to them for all your website creation needs, and they'll be able to hook you up with their easy-to-use interface, supportive staff, and while you're at it, get a 30-day free trial with this promo code. Enter it in when you're registering, and you'll be able to get 30 days free. What is up, guys? It's Zenazor here. Today I have a review for you guys of the Capacitouch Soft Knit Touchscreen Gloves from Media Devil. I did a review of their executive ballpoint pen in black yesterday. That was a really cool stylus. This kind of fits in the same category because it is also trying to bridge the gap between your finger and your touchscreen and allow you to use your touchscreen without actually having to touch it with your finger. But basically, let's get on to this, and let me just give you a couple facts about this. So mainly the problem with all gloves that are not specifically designed to work with a capacitive touchscreen is that those gloves do not have a material woven into them that allows you to bridge the gap between your finger and the touchscreen, which will allow the signal to be conducted and transmitted into the touchscreen. So unfortunately, many gloves can't do that. The way that touchscreen gloves work is they bridge that gap, and specifically in the case of these gloves, they use a premium conductive stainless steel fiber, and it's woven into the tips of every single finger, so you can use every single finger, and you can use that with your touchscreen because it has a conductive material woven into it. So that's basically how it works, and I'm not going to say any more right now in the intro. I'm just going to get to all the facts and stuff. So $27 as I said, 3 sizes, 2 colors, and compatible with basically any touchscreen in the world that is a capacitive touchscreen. So thank you so much to Media Devil for sending this out to me, and yeah, let's get into the review. So these gloves are kind of universal, and the way that I'm using that tense is that you can put the left glove on, and it will still fit on the right glove, and it will fit fine. And not only will it fit fine, you will also be able to use it normally because the conductive material is on both sides. It's on the front and the back, so you'll still be able to use it no matter what glove you're using on which hand. So that's kind of cool. I just prefer to have the glove with the Devil logo on my right hand because it feels slightly better. So after 10 days of learning to type with these gloves and using regular functions on my iPhone 5, I'll show you how I can use these gloves. Mind you, this is after 10 days, and that's honestly a lot. So if you find that I'm having difficulty with it, it's not me, it's just the fact that it's incredibly difficult with this kind of product to type like this. So when you have a product like this, it kind of increases the surface area of your finger. So when you increase the surface area, and now your finger is spanning 2 to 3 different buttons. So when you're going to have your finger floating over 3 different letters and you need to pick only one of those letters, it's kind of hard. 1 out of 3 times you'll get the letter wrong, and you'll get a letter that's really close in proximity. I once was out jogging and I had to type something into my phone. I wanted to switch Pandora stations and I wanted to create a new station. It took me 10 times to get Pandora to recognize that I wasn't typing an O, I was typing a P. So it was a very difficult situation where it's just really incredibly annoying because it's not your fault. I mean, the keyboard cannot recognize which keyboard button you're hitting because the surface area of these gloves is so large. For other functions like scrolling and playing games and other kinds of stuff, it's incredibly simple, there's no problems, but when you're going to be typing, it's going to be incredibly difficult. There's no doubt about that. Unless you jailbreak and you get some kind of large keyboard, you're just going to have an entire nightmare trying to do this. So right here, I'll show you some gameplay footage of a very popular game, Bike Race, and I'll just show you how you can play this game in case it's cold and you want to play outside. Now, obviously, I'm not using the gyroscope properly, and I did not use the accelerometer and all that kind of stuff properly in this game, but as you can tell, you can hit it and it recognizes you perfectly fine. There's no problems there. So honestly, if you're going to be playing games, you're going to be scrolling, you're going to be doing some kind of stuff like that, you have no problems. But for typing specifically, there's a lot of problems there, and in that specific category, you're just going to have a really hard time getting it to work, so you should just save yourself the frustration and either A, not buy the gloves if you're going to be typing a lot, or B, just take the gloves off if you want to type a quick message. So although typing with these gloves is not very easy, there are a couple functions that will still work fine with these gloves. One of those functions is your ability to switch music, play music, go backwards, all that kind of stuff, raise your volume without actually having to touch the volume rocker buttons themselves, because when it's very cold, you don't want to take your hands out of your gloves or your pockets or whatever you want to do, so you can use these gloves and your iPhone or whatever device you have will recognize that perfectly. So despite the fact that there are only a couple of situations when you'd have to use your iPad outside with gloves when it's cold, I'm going to show you how typing is on the iPad, and as you can see, it's still surprisingly difficult just because it's so difficult for the iPad to recognize where the gloves are hitting each individual button or key. So as you can see, typing isn't as easy as it seems, and I don't know if it seems easy, but let me tell you, it is not easy. With that said, playing the piano on the iPad isn't that hard with these gloves, which is an added bonus, I guess. I'll show you some clips of me playing the piano with these gloves and how that turned out. So the second keyboard, as you can see, has slightly smaller keys, and it was slightly harder to hit each individual key, but that was literally with 30 seconds of just warm-up. I never even thought about playing piano before. I just literally did that on the spot. I mean, I play piano, but I didn't actually think about using this as a video idea. I never even tried to play piano with these gloves ever on the iPad before this video, so I filmed that right on the spot. But anyway, so it wasn't too bad. As you can see, typing is not the best thing. It's definitely a lot harder than it seems, and if it seems hard, then you have an accurate depiction of what it seems like, which is good, I guess, because then you understand how hard it is to type with anything that is not your actual finger. So it is definitely difficult no matter what device you're on, unless that device has like a 50-inch screen and is also touchscreen. Unless it's like a gigantic touchscreen TV, it's going to be difficult for you to type with gloves, and honestly, I don't see a point for anybody to be typing with their iPad out when it's cold. I mean, unless you're at a train station and it's cold and you're some kind of businessman and you want to type, I mean, go ahead, but it's difficult. It's definitely difficult. So if you want to, just take your gloves off, because it's not worth it. You're going to mess yourself up. You're just going to get yourself really angry because it's not going to work out. I remember, as I told you already, it just takes a long time. I was typing one letter, and the letter would constantly, every single time when I typed it, be the wrong letter. So it doesn't work out the way you want it to a lot of the time. So it's better for functions like pausing, playing, and raising your volume, skipping tracks, using Siri, playing games. It's not really designed for, in my opinion, for typing, because it makes typing 10 times longer just because it's so inaccurate. And an iPhone isn't the largest phone out there. There are larger phones, but even then, I tried this on the Samsung Galaxy S3, and I know a person that uses the Note. I tried it on there, and that was just impossible too. It doesn't get much better. So even though you can use a gigantic device, it's still not going to be comfortable, and it's still not going to be as precise as using your fingers. So once again, let me repeat this. Use this if you want to do normal things, like if you're jogging, it's cold, you want to play or pause the music. If you want to play a game that allows you to use gigantic fingers or anything like that. Nothing that is precise, because if you're trying to do something that requires precise hand movements and precise gestures and all that kind of stuff, it's definitely going to get screwed up and you're going to make yourself really angry. But otherwise, this is a really, really cool product. Thank you so much to Media Dev for sending this out to me. I really appreciate it. These guys keep you warm, let you use your phone and iPad and tablet, all that kind of stuff, without having to usually just take your fingers out of your pockets or take your fingers out of your gloves and get them all cold. So this is a great product. I think it's definitely worth it if you're not going to be typing too much. I'll give it a 7 out of 10 just because it's difficult to type with it. Other than that, rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll have a link for this down in the video description down below.